chance to move his shit.
So I'm like, if he picks me,
Hey, Mark. Mark, what beer do you want?
The top two off of each squad receive 2 round buys. Those will be seated in the 1 through 8 seeds. Third and fourth off of each squad will be in the 9 through 16 seed and will receive 1 buy. The remainder, the final 3 plus the top 4 from the Desperado receiving will be our 17 and 32 seeds and going first round. And the finals every round is 3 total pinfall. Re-enter, I do have 2 more squads that have space. Re-entries are 175. This evening, the Desperado will follow right after the 6 p.m. squad, and that is a $100 entry. Desperado will approximately start between 10 and 10:30ish. It's on burn, whatever's left over from the 6 p.m. squad. And it's just a 2-game shootout for that squad. As always, thank you to all of our sponsors for stepping up this year again. Desperado EFX, Dawgs, Agency, Ramsey, Auto, Chuck Stanley, Brunswick, and Chat Desert Southwest. And as always, thank you to Bill Williams Jr. for flying on out here to our heats to live stream everything on Bullstring TV. You guys have any family or friends who want to follow along later? Like, follow, subscribe to Bullstring TV. It's the best in the business. Alright guys, we're just right around 10 minutes of warm-up. Brackets will close middle of game 1 by game pots, and it's noted before the end of practice when we get into it. Thank you guys for 10 minutes.
Live check, 1, 2. Live check, 1, 2. Good morning. Please let me know if you can hear me. It is always appreciated to get the old live check. It is 7:11 a.m. Arizona time, which should really represent Pacific time, but technically it's Mountain Standard Time, and I'm all confused. But I know it's early in the state of Arizona. It's early for wherever you may be watching, or late. Well, we welcome you and say good morning from Lakeview Lanes. It's the third annual CBE 10K Cactus Classic. This is technically the second squad overall, but the first squad here today on a wonderful Saturday. The heat not heating as of yet here in Arizona. It's warm, but waking up to like only 90 degrees here is pretty okay. We'll get you underway here shortly. Last couple of minutes of practice. If you missed any of yesterday's A squad, it was a very demanding lane condition. The field certainly did the best they could. They looked great at times. They looked tough at times, and a lot of in between. Top 7 advance in each squad. Yesterday's cut for the top 7 and A squad was -10. Shout out to Mark Missoula for running that down. Basically, he had to throw the back 7 to get there. Michael Haugen Jr. led A squad yesterday. This squad is pretty legit with names such as Brianna Cote, Andrew Kane, Matt Jones, Jim Pratt, Ed Smaglin, Wesley Lowe, Cortez Shank, Michael Fitzgerald. That's just to name a few. So we will see this squad compete. Left lanes, if you start on the left lane, you'll move left. If you start on the right lane, you will move right. And that is how things will work out. Got a couple of cameras in play. Try to get you as much as I possibly can in our one channel or one stream. So our featured pairs typically is 5 through 8 with picture-in-picture on 9 through 12. And then I've got 1 through 4 as we're taking a look at that camera right now for practice. We'll switch back to 5 through 8 here in a little bit. I already know we have one request from Mr. David Leverage. He was asking for links and channels and where to watch. So if you're a David Leverage fan, we'll see a little of David in game 1, but you'll see a lot of him as he moves on, because I think he's going to, I think he's starting on the right lane, which means he's going to move right. All right, I'll be back here in 1 second.
Hold on, Drew.
Good morning again if you are just joining us. Officially now underway with game one. Emil Williams Jr. here with you. There are 3 on a pair. We're going from 1 through 16 here this morning. As we get you underway, again, 5 through 8 featured, 9 through 12 picture-in-picture, and we'll take a look at 1 through 4 here about halfway through. Those are the lanes that I'll be able to have a look at. If there's a player, of course, that you're looking for, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll let you know when they will be within camera range if they aren't already. The good news is that every player, or I should say if you're moving left, or if you're on the left lane, you move left, 1 pair to the left. If you move, or on the right lane, you move 1 pair to the right. So generally speaking, we'll see everybody a couple of times over, whether it's at the end of the, or the middle of the block, beginning and or end. Thank you to those who are watching early. If you're on the West Coast, we appreciate it. It's very early for you. If you're in the Central Time Zone or even certainly Eastern Time, we appreciate you waking up, got that coffee ready on a wonderful Saturday. It's a great day for bowling. It's always a great day for bowling. As this squad, B squad, tries to attack this 43-foot pattern, and it played very difficult. It's like any other squad, right? The first squad that sees a new pattern, great spare. Might see a lot of 2-4-10s, by the way, and 2-4 combinations. It was we had a few of those, to say the least, yesterday. But here on 5 through 8, at Brandon Knapp, Andrew Kane. And speaking of Andrew, good shot there in the 3rd frame. And speaking of southpaws, we saw our fair share of southpaws during yesterday's squad as well. And it looks like we're going to have a good amount during this squad. Already seeing at least 2 in my general vicinity. That spare made by Tracy Dumas, by the way, Kashawn Manning, Matt Jones, Rihanna Cote. Actually, some pairs with, I should say, some pairs have 3. And it looks like the majority here on this squad has 4. Ben Canfield is up early. He joined me during game 8 yesterday. Appreciate Ben. Head coach at Grand Canyon University, and this past season's Male Coach of the Year, the National Collegiate Bowling Coaches Association. We got JP in the building, Jennifer Parisi, Mary Norton, El Hoppy. Tina Mays, of course, is watching. She's got, I believe, Hunter and Chris are bowling. Yeah, they are. Hunter, or I'm sorry, yeah, Hunter is on 11 and 12. So, Tina, you can see Hunter in the bottom right of your screen. And it looks like he is moving right. So he'll work his way back to camera range in a couple of games. Chris is on 13 and 14. He too looks like he is moving right. So they will end up again side by side, as they I'm sure often are on a regular basis, on in a camera range and in camera view in about a game or 2. Yesterday I mentioned, if you joined us or did not join us, that bowling on this pattern and bowling and the opportunity to score did seem plentiful on the fresh. There were a lot of players who were able to score playing out. So far, seeing a fair share of strings. There's one from Brianna Cote. Last year she bowled this tournament and was coming off a U.S. Women's Open title. This week, she's coming off a what was a top 10 finish at the U.S. Women's Open, tried to defend that title and gave it all she had. She was working her way down the stretch in the final round of match play, coming around the home stretch, if you will, and fell just short of making the top 5 again. The last, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks for Bree have been very good on the PWBA Tour. David Leverage next door. Strike, spare, double for David Leverage. We'll take a look at 1 through 4 here in a little bit. He's on the pair with Ben Perry. Every time I see Ben Perry bowl, he puts himself in positions to win. That's always a great sign. Here's Kane. For those of you who have not seen the pattern graph, let's take a look at it. The way to Brandon Knapp is complete with his frame. He's about to step up. One thing we noticed very early on was the importance of speed control. 43 feet is the length of this pattern. Again, 25.65 mils. Pay attention to the multiple loads, really the highest amount of loads in the 2-2. Full concentration. Combined and forward, you see that speed bump, which is that lighter blue area. Start to get familiar with what speed bumps look like when you cover USBC events. Nick Hoagland is notorious for adding a speed bump, and then the pattern essentially then buffed out to 43 feet. But you could play out, and not that time. I'm playing, when you say buffed out to 43, it was buffed to 43 feet. There's David Leverage on your left. He crossed over. We'll take that 5-pin though. Something makeable early. I didn't see a lot of players like playing one specifically, but you had to be able to control speed if you were going to play out. Seemed like the best viable option at that moment. Urethane is in play for a decent amount of players, it looks like also. It's Smaglick over on 1 and 2. We'll get you a link to the standings once they are made available, but they will be on tournamentbowl.com. Giannacote off to a great start. Got away with one there. What I will do is give you a look at yesterday's standings, though. In case you missed that. Again, Michael Haugen led the field, or led the squad, excuse me, at plus 162. Followed by Greg Thompson Jr. at plus 91. Cesar Padilla third at plus 90. And Padilla and GT2 battling for a 2-round bye. There are byes available in each squad. The top 2 in each squad will receive a 2-round bye, which means they do not have to bowl the first 2 rounds of match play tomorrow. If you finish 3rd or 4th in your squad, you will get a 1-round bye. And if you finish 5 through 7, of course, you will bowl first round and be seated somewhere between 17th and 32nd. Brandon Knapp trying to get something going here early. Between Leverage and Jim Pratt right now, they are putting in some work over on 3 and 4. Let's take a look at 3 and 4 here. Jim Pratt on the right of your screen. He's got spare 5-bagger. Black Widow Pink Urethane puts down another. That's 6 in a row. Pink Urethane is in play by a couple of players. Seeing some pitch blacks, seeing some purple hammers, and certainly a good portion of reactive. We'll keep it here for a moment. We'll see if David Leverage can restart the strike train with a double here. Matt Jones just destroyed the 1-3 over on 7 and 8. Matt with a 4-bagger. Here's Leverage, right at your screen. And he stopped by a 9-pin. Still a good game brewing here. See if Pratt can keep it going. This is frame 8 for Pratt. Yep, that's another one. Boy, Jim Pratt working on a possible opportunity at 290. As I mentioned, though, if you're just joining us, the fresh is gettable. Matt Jones again. Metro Phoenix Hall of Famer. This is Andrew Kane. Leverage just wrapped a 10 to the left. Carlos Jimenez in the 10th frame. An opportunity to finish in the 2-0s. Cote with the open in the 8th, back on into the 9th. She's got 230 plus in her sights. Matt Jones. Missed opportunity there, unfortunately, for Matt. Unless we can make this, of course. Tough game here for Mr. Dumas. Jim Pratt left of your screen. Open in the 10th there for Matt after making the nice run. There's Pratt left, and Pratt strikes again. Virginia Young in the chat. She is correct. She bowled yesterday, so first-hand experience. They did get pretty rough, I would say, mid-block. There was that transition where no one really had a good idea on what to do. Rana Cote and Matt Jones, by the way, are moving right. So they're going to move over to 9 and 10, and then they'll be on the bottom right of your screen. Just like that, David Leverage has lost a little bit of momentum. Well, he's throwing some really good shots, too, and that's the worst part. You got to execute on this. And when you feel like you do that, and somehow you leave pocket 7-10s, that's tough. Meanwhile, Cote is going to be in the 230s. Great start, game 1. Ooh, he gave it a run. Ball change on the field for Cote, 234. For Bree, very nice game 1. Brandon Knapp is going to finish with 152. Andrew Kane finishes at 215. We go back over to 1 through 4. You watch Jim Pratt.
All right, ball off. Thanks.
No, wow, Jimmy Pratt got away with one there, and hey, listen, when it's working, it's working. Get as many pins as you can right now, because it could get, or we anticipate, I should say, them to get tricky, certainly. And Pratt wasting no time. And why would you? Keep that momentum going. He has built a little bit of an audience, turned his back on that one, knew it wasn't good. But that'll get you through some brackets, won't it? Out the gates in the 270s. And that is immediately, I'll double check, but the highest game of the tournament. Had a couple of 260s yesterday. It was 268 and 267. Not by the same person. John Verbal shot 268. Tim Smith shot 267 actually in game 1. We had a 250 plus in game 1 as well. And Jim Pratt opens up 278. Mr. Leverage and Ben Perry Barry a shot away from getting into the 230s. Leverage one more to get into the 2-0s. This competition is now underway. It looks like over on 7-8, actually 7 through 16. Boy, David Leverage bowled a really good game, and it's only going to get 194 with the spare. I don't think he, except for once that I saw for sure. He missed the pocket once. He went Brooklyn, left a 5-pin. But he's left ring 10, 4-pin, 9-pin, and a pocket 7-10. Looks like David's going to adjust a little bit of tape. Not a bad game. He's moving over to 5 and 6. And we will do the same. Very similar in some regards to how game one started yesterday on A Squad, and I'm speaking of the amount of players who were able to score by playing out. Andrew Kane. Early double on 7 and 8. Pratt coming off 278. And keeping it going. Mentioned Carlos was in a Black Widow pink urethane. At least I assume it to be. We'll have 2 of those going down the lanes here on 5 and 6. Matt Herbert, Mike Barkus have moved over to 7 and 8 from 9 and 10. Hunter Mays, Mark Myers, Matt Jones, Brianna Cote, they are currently on 9 and 10. And again, Hunter, if Tina is still watching, bottom right of your screen there. We'll go full screen over there for a little bit in a few frames. Matt Zweig, who bowled A squad yesterday. He might be the, no, I think I see at least 2 players. Matt and I think Joshua Brown, who both bowled A squad and are back at it here early this morning. So at this point, Jim Pratt has what? $11 strikes. Essentially, he struck from the 2nd frame through the first shot in the 10th, and then he starts with a double here in game 2. Wesley Lowe is over on 3 and 4. Oh, Ben Canfield tells us Matt Zweig shot 280. That is the high game of the tournament. That's exactly what happened yesterday. Almost to a T, where I was able to see Tim Smith shoot who shot 257? I'll look at it. But someone shot 257. It was Michael Howard. And he was in our camera range. And then I think down on the high end, Tim Smith shot 267. And then here it is again. You see Jim Pratt on 3 and 4 shoot 278. And then Zweig down on the high end shooting 280. That is prime, putting your experience to use right there. He immediately applied the lessons learned. Appreciate that update, Ben Canfield. Mike Hardesty talking about seeing Jim Pratt back at it, working hard. Does have a knee brace on the left knee. Sean Manning moving it away from the pocket just a little bit. There's some hang out there if you give it away, even with the slower ball speed. If you in his case, if you're getting it left of 5 down lane early, it's going to be tough. Leverage is going to reset. And our guy, the tournament director, joining us for the first time this week, Theo Donuts Duthay. Well, he couldn't even get the headset on properly before somebody had a question for him.
Yeah, they were just asking about lane courtesy.
That's a good question, actually. What's up, Theo?
Oh, you know, it's the start of the very, very long day.
This is the day.
Yes.
Third annual. How you feeling about you've done it again?
Yeah. You know, bowlers are procrastinators, so the last 3 weeks have been very stressful. When you look at entry counts, it's like, man, are we going to get there? And I think we're only maybe 5 bowlers from where we were last year on unique entries. So I think we'll get there again. I already know of a few guys that are probably going to walk in that have no idea what squad they want to bowl yet. But
I love that you said bowlers are procrastinators.
Absolutely.
It's part of, I feel like it's just in the bowler's DNA.
Yes, I procrastinate. I mean, throughout all of college, any paper I wrote the day before. So
You know, I can relate to that. I did the exact same thing. But I don't know if that's a bowler trait. That might just be a school trait. Not for everybody. All right, that's got a hook. Yeah, they're not hooking from there. Jim Pratt just came back with a big wow. As I think he was a little surprised that his ball did not hook on the way to the 7-pin.
yeah, Jim's usually a pretty solid spare shooter, so that was a little surprising to see.
Do we have game 1 scores?
We do. Matt Zweig, he was our first re-entry, leading the way with a 280 game.
That's what I heard.
Jim Pratt had a chance at the high game pot over him. He had a run at 290, but missed in the 11th for 278. Other than those two, though, I mean, scores are on pace with yesterday. 7th final qualifier right now is at +4. But as we saw yesterday, the cut score was kind of all over the place. We had one game where it dropped 40 pins.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think we went from it was either +15 or +20, and then all of a sudden it was -24. Like, whoa!
It got iffy. Real iffy.
Yeah.
About game 5 or so. Virginia Young has been in the chat this morning, taking I'm sure a look at Michael, Mr. Fitzgerald, who is clean through 8 as Pratt gets back on it. After 1, by the way, +4. +4 would be the number for advancement on this squad. Mark Myers at +4.
You know, it's pretty wild that we've had now 3 years and 3 different patterns, and our cuts are still around the same. I think last year they ranged, when I looked at historically, I think cuts ranged from -8 to -13. And yesterday our cut number was -10. So
Can you attribute that to anything, you think?
I mean, I give the guys, you know, what I'm looking for, and they've been pretty spot on each year. So
They say they've nailed it each time.
yeah.
So far.
This squad, I think, might be the outlier. It's very possible. There is a ton of talent on this squad, and it's not just a couple guys. You know, this squad is very deep.
I would agree. We were talking about that a little bit yesterday. Just some of the players that I knew, or at least verbally told us that they were bowling. Like Michael, for example, letting us know in the chat he was bowling this morning. Matt Jones said it. Bree said it. I mean, if you were just talking about those 3 alone,
Yeah,
they would increase anybody's squad talent.
absolutely. Yeah, and Matt Jones is over there messaging me last night. He's like, I'm the weak one on the squad. I'm like, you are a Hall of Famer, Matt. You got to remember that. Like, you are good.
Jim Pratt did strike in the 5th.
I'm really glad to see Jim back out here. He's been dealing with knee issues the last 1.5 years, 2 years. So to see him back out here and being competitive is wonderful to see.
Just looked at Mr. Pratt, and then a quick look at Michael Fitzgerald. So Fitz has doubled in the 10th. He's going to be in the 240s. Rihanna Cote started with 234 in game 1. He's got 230 still left. Here's Cote on your screen. This is 9 through 12. A little bit of a weak 10. We'll watch Fitz's final shot here. Jim Pratt, by the way, left another 7-pin, and that one, it still was kind of slow to hook, but it made it over there. I remember Fitzgerald last year averaging, oh no, he finished at plus 201.
Yeah, he bowled great
for
last
his
year.
8 games, which I still believe was the highest qualifying block. He was the #1 overall seed, correct?
Yep.
Plus 201, generally speaking, is pretty high, but
yeah, and I mean,
we just talked about, you know, patterns last year. They weren't that much, even though it was different, the scoring pace was similar. Look at Chris Mays in his 10th frame.
yeah, and looking historically, I mean, Fitz was 70 ahead of second. So
that's a ton.
Well, great.
This group here, well, I should say specifically Chris Mays right now is moving left. Again, so we'll continue to see him. Watch Cote here in the 9th frame. Good shot.
Looks like Fitz punched out for 245 down there.
Yep. Now back over to 5 through 8. What do you constitute success at this point, in regards to running the tournament? I mean, obviously just getting it off the ground, having people show up.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. I mean, I run a lot of tournaments throughout the year, and I just kind of, with so many squads, I just kind of treat each squad as its own little tournament. And then when a new one comes in, it's like, okay, new time, new squad, and just focus on each squad individually. That way I make sure I'm taking care of that, making sure everything runs smooth. But I mean, with tournament bowl, it makes my life super easy. There's not much I got to do. I just enter everything on the back end and let it do all the work for me. So
you got it down, Pat, man. You're an experienced
I've done this once or
TD.
twice. No, and I mean, I appreciate all the bowlers having confidence in me to continue running things smoothly. You know, so they spread the word about, you know, there's nothing worse than running a tournament poorly, because the word of mouth is going to get out there of, hey, don't go back to that tournament.
Yeah.
So when I started, I took feedback. I still take feedback. I mean, I'm in year 7 of running tournaments, and I still will listen. Some advice I listen and, you know, put it in play. Some they want to just vent, so I just sit there and listen and go, okay, you know.
Well, that's part of it too. Tournament directors also are therapists in some ways.
Yes, yes. Underpaid therapists.
Venting is important. There's nothing like a good vent session from not like a stranger per se, like you may know him. Oh, look at Andrew Kane. A little message there to get to 199. Mr. Herbert there shot 219. Sometimes you just get that stranger, like legit, like you have no previous relationship with a person, but you know they were just called upon that day to talk to you. You never know what they say, but clearly they needed someone And then there's almost like no judgment because you have no idea who they are. You can just listen without any additional reservation or feelings about it.
100%. Sometimes those are the best things. And you just sit there and listen, and sometimes you learn a few things from those people too. So I'm always just constantly trying to learn that way. Make my tournaments better and continue to grow.
Seen some tough things really with market in the 10th frame as of late, specifically on 7 and 8. Like Marcus there with the split in the 10th frame. Saw Matt Jones do that in game 1. Almost left a similar lead, I think, actually on the same lane. Those are trends that I start to pay attention to. Jim Pratt starting to lose his look ever so slightly, maybe on the right lane. Left a couple of 7 pins, and maybe you try to make the subtle adjustment.
And then it overhooks.
Wow, and Manning just took out the 4 off the 2-4-7. I did see someone almost take out the 6 yesterday off the 3-6-10.
Fantastic. I love that.
Seen some a couple of potential oddities.
And see, this is the scoring pace right here. So Matt shot 280 game 1, and now he's shooting 160. So pair-to-pair plays a huge role in why the scoring pace is where it's at and why they don't get inflated and blown up.
Carl Long and I were talking about that yesterday. Carl was in the booth. Shout out to all of the sponsors here this tournament. Carl, one of them, with the Agent Ong. Team Agent Ong, running his Agent Ong Open in October coming up. Shout out to Bro Dogs.
Yeah.
Jim Pratt has left the exact same split now twice. You're seeing a little bit of earlier hook. David Leverage is nearly made. He's almost made a couple of splits today.
He's a shooter, man.
He's got the right ball speed and just enough rotation on his spare ball that it connects with the pins and does kind of bounce almost each and every time. Ramsey Auto Center. Brunswick Chuck's Painting. Barrel EFX.
Yeah, Chuck, EFX, and Brunswick have been with us since day 1.
And also True Amateur Tournaments, Desert Southwest and John Verbal. Thank you, David, for that note. I talked to Mike this morning, Barkus, and he said I helped him decide to bowl today.
He told me that.
So what happened, I'll give you the backstory. I was talking to Carl, or it might have been Ben. I think it was Ben. And Smaglick gave that a run left of your screen. That's Carlos Jimenez in the 9th frame here. Wesley Lowe can get to 248, by the way. Take a quick peek at 3 and 4. But I was talking to Ben, and specifically, I was saying because of the format, where each squad has advancers.
Correct.
And it's not post your score and then you got to wait and see. So even if you were on the fence, if you weren't feeling sharp, right, you'd be like, but you know you're good enough to be able to make it and bowl well. The top 7 per squad advancement would be enough for me. I was talking about myself. For me to be like, okay, I'm going to go give it a shot because I only got to beat 6 other people on the squad.
Correct.
As opposed to 31 other people.
Correct.
To advance to match play. And you could mess around and get a 1-round or 2-round bye.
Yeah. You know, and I like this format because, you know, when you run tournaments that combine the squads, there's always people chirping, oh, squad equity. This squad was better. And, you know, when you take, say, top 16 at a tournament and there's 12 from one squad, 4 from the other, then everybody chirps and says, yeah, that squad equity, that squad was easier, even though, you know, if you look at the overall, the talent that's on the squads, then you kind of know why a squad, you know, can play easier. And it all depends on how they break them down. But with this, you get there, you beat the guys on your squad. You don't have to worry about, you know, a pair that plays, or a squad that plays easier and has a lot of guys qualify from it. So show up, beat the guys on your squad, and then show up in the finals and be ready.
Just saw a note from GT2, Greg Thompson Jr. talking about Jim Pratt and watching what he was doing, letting him know he had the right idea, speaking of GT yesterday. Now, GT, I'm glad you are here this morning. Good morning to you, by the way. And there was I think GT was on 7 and 8, and we were talking about how important speed control was. And to me, it looked like GT was trying to throw it slower.
Okay.
Slower. Okay, now we're talking about GT. So his slow is my fast. It's just in my head, right? And I don't know how accurate the radars are here. Great shot. Nice adjustment there for Jim Pratt. It's I was going to say it's a ball down, but he's going to probably maybe go to reactor. We'll find out. But that Venom Shock looked pretty good on that fill for Jim, where the urethane was starting to hook and read just a little bit too early. But anyway, back to GT. I'm like, if GT is maybe trying to throw it slower for him, to me that really says that speed control is vital.
Yes.
When someone who would prefer to throw it hard has to be cognizant of what ball speed is. Now, I could be completely wrong about that. He could just say, no, I was throwing it hard.
Well, and like you said, I mean, his soft is us firing it as hard as we can.
I pictured me just heaving it down the lane while watching his ball act like it was moving at a snail's pace.
Yeah. I think his slow is me throwing my 14-pound spare ball at the 7-pin.
He bowled great and got himself a 2-round bye by 1 pin over Cesar Padilla yesterday. Plus 91. Padilla plus 90. Again, that was A squad standings. I dropped those. In fact, let me get you today's standings here. They are indeed, of course, available. Well, look at Theo. He's just sitting here entering stats and numbers. That's impressive.
Getting them as we go.
That's how you know you're a tournament director.
Trying to stay ahead of the game here.
Now that's impressive. Tournament Bowl updates in real time, I see as well.
It does. Yep. The only ones I didn't get are the ones that are way down there. So I only got 2 pairs that I need to grab.
We're all done on 5 and 6 officially, so we move into game 3.
I'm gonna go snag these last couple scores so we can update game 2, and then I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you. Game 3 moving and shaking here, folks. We've got Matt Herbert, Mike Barkus, Wesley Lowe, Ed Smaglick.
You have a great radio voice.
Thank you.
I enjoyed listening to it.
That is Mike Barkus with the compliments this morning. Wesley Lowe is warm. He is directly under the fan. I'm probably going to describe that player X, whoever it is, just insert player name, standing directly underneath the fan between lane 6 and 7 here in the settee area. Not too warm on the concourse, in my opinion. It'll get a little warmer, of course, as the day goes on. We'll have more people in the building. Of course, the temperature outside will continue to increase, which means probably the strikes might increase, and that's a big might, as Pratt leverage move over to 7 and 8. Mark Myers and Hunter Mays now join us on 7 and 8 as well. Game 3, B Squad Cactus Classic, CBE 10K Cactus Classic, $10,000 to the winner. Darren Tane won it in 2022, which was the inaugural event. Jacob Buttriff won it last year in 2023. And of course, who will be our champion in 2024? We'll find out tomorrow at approximately 3:45 Pacific time or Arizona time. 3:45 p.m. that is. Match play will be single elimination 3-game total pinfall. Now, we did not see a lot of 3 off the rights, but I saw enough to know yesterday that that is in play. I think this pair is starting to get very intriguing, though, just based on what Pratt and Leverage went through on the right side, seeing early hooks, specifically on lane 6. Pratt saw it with urethane, and I don't think Mr. Leverage was in urethane at all, but he was seeing some of that same early hook. See what he sees here on the right lane on lane 8. That looked like maybe a little bit of a miss left there, but a good single pin. The old 3 spare from Mike Barkas. We'll take it. We love a good 3 spare. Coco, it was warm. It was warm even on the concourse yesterday. That's how I knew it was warm in the building. Like, if it's warm for me, I'm typically a pretty colder dude. If I'm hot, that means it's like triple digits in the settee. I'm very comfortable right now, I can tell you that. Oh, great shot. Much better look on that pair, still with urethane. Is Pratt. Ed Smaglik. I remember Ed from his collegiate bowling days at Purdue University. Good shot from Mike. He's looking down at that those approaches. Mike told me he used to work right here in this building for a while. Head mechanic here at Lakeview Lanes. Nice high flush there for Wesley Lowe. All right, let's look at the game 2 standings. Let me refresh. They are indeed updated. Let's drop those in the chat. I saw one very rude 8-pin. In fact, Virginia Young left a very rude 8-pin yesterday. Now Matt Herbert has left one as well.
The 8-pin gives me nightmares.
Your 8-pin is different than my 8-pin.
My 8-pin cost me a 900.
That's way different than my 8-pin. That would actually, I might have stopped bowling if an 8-pin cost me 900. Oh. That's how hateful I am toward 8-pins.
Well, now I'm a tournament director, so.
So it did affect your life in multiple ways.
So we've got some game 2 scores. Looks like our number is at plus 14 right now, which is Andrew Kane. Our current bowlers in the top 7, Wesley Lowe leading the way at plus 60. Jim Pratt at plus 50. Matt Zweig is at plus 44. Brianna Cote plus 38. Fitzgerald plus 38. And Keith Fung plus 34. I think we're around the same pace as yesterday. with our scores.
Me Pratt, but Brianna Cote is on the move.
Yeah,
she and Matt Jones.
She's kind of good.
Yeah.
Only a little bit.
That's one way of putting it. Good run at that 4-9 there of Mr. Myers, but 2 opens in 3 frames. Speaking of Meyer, my guy John Meyer. Always did it. Every year. Every year I see him. He's like the one player, one bowler, where he could tell me his last name a gazillion times, but because there's multiple ways to say it, I always forget.
Took me a while to remember that it's John Mayer.
See?
Like the singer, John Mayer.
So when I said Meyer, I go, no, it's not like Oscar Mayer. And then I thought of John Mayer. And I'm like, that's it. It's the one running joke that actually is okay.
I'm waiting for the day that he just breaks into song, just to remind us.
He might as well. We're still waiting on the world to change. How about that spare from Mr. Leverage? He had been close for the first 2 games on making big splits. Comes through there in the 3rd frame. It was dirty, Virginia. There's not an 8-pin I don't remember, honestly.
I can say that it's 9 months.
And there's a ton left, unfortunately, on the PWBA tour. Some events have more than others, depends on what center you're in, all of that pattern, all of those things. But I've seen a couple already, and I'm like, well, 8-pins are in play, so that's not good.
Yeah, we bowl league here, and I've had my fair share of 8s and 9 pins on some nights.
Fitzgerald still putting in work over there. Cortez Shank. Cortez, did we get to the quarters or the semifinals last year? That sound familiar?
You know, I don't remember, but I think that's pretty accurate. I want to say he got to the top 8.
Yeah.
At minimum, I think it was top 8. And tomorrow we will run our first 3 rounds, which will be 16 bowlers, 16 players, and then 16 again. And then when we get to the final 8, we will re-oil. Just because this year we're using 10 units less than last year, so a re-oil is probably a smart thing for us.
10 units less?
Yes, roughly. Last year we had, I believe, 35 mils.
Wow, was it really?
Yeah, it was 35. Yeah, I remember Mike Dermeyer, the center manager. When I saw him the following week, he said, yeah, when I talked to Dermeyer later, he said that he came in and bowled league the next morning, and some of the shot was still on there. No matter how much. I think they stripped a couple times, and it was still sitting there, so 35 units was quite a bit.
Walter Mays putting a little hip into that one. Get a little bit of carry. Matt Jones has got a chance to shoot 278. See if Mr. Leverage can pull down another big split conversion here.
Got it. No. Oh, the pin actually tapped it in the back.
Yeah, he was close to making a 710 earlier too. Here is Matt Jones, folks, right on your screen. 278 possibility. He almost left a big 4, and he did that in game 1 in the 10th frame. That's why there's a big safe. That was a big safe hand gesture there. Oh, what a break for John Mayer. watch Matt's spare opportunity. All right, so we'll go back to 5 through 8 for the moment.
Matt's going to get into the 250s, and he is sitting currently at -20, so that game will help him. Oh, get the 5-7 out of there.
That's why. Getting the 5-7. Oh, there's nothing like getting a good 5-7. Shout out to Carl Long, who's watching. I was going to say Carl's up early, but it's only 8:19. And he lives in this time zone, so he's okay.
Yeah. Well, and he's in Vegas, so he don't
is
sleep.
in Vegas, so he probably didn't sleep. My man going to see Lionel tonight. What's the last concert you've been to?
Last year, I took my girls to see Kelsey Ballerini in Vegas. Country singer.
I'm afraid to admit I have no idea who that is.
She's a country singer. My girls love her. I don't mind her.
Ballerini. I love the last name, though.
Yep. Her concert was really solid, too. It was probably the coolest trip I've ever been on. I never in my life get upgraded on rooms.
Oh, okay.
And we stayed at the Virgin Hotel because that's where she was performing. Got checked in, and the desk person said, you go this way, and then you hang a right here, and then a left there, and then go down this. And I'm like, I have no idea.
You go 2 blocks and hang that right.
But we'll figure it out. So after going in a circle and not finding where our room was, we asked the concierge desk, a different concierge desk, and they took us to our room, and they said, oh yeah, you're in the villas. I said, what is the villas? It's one step down from the penthouse.
Oh.
So our room had an elevator. Yes, it was 2 floors, had an elevator. We had our own private jacuzzi.
Oh, Cote.
I mean, it was saving $230 down there with that 4.9.
Wow. That's a big spare.
Yeah, it was really cool. Had our own private jacuzzi and elevator in our room. My youngest daughter was living the life.
Yeah, that's it was great, but slightly unfortunate, right? How old is your youngest daughter?
She is now 11. She just turned 11.
That's the expectation from now on.
I know. But
it's a tough precedent.
The wife was like, "Are you hiding something from us?"
You got some secret points stashed.
The bellhop guy showed up, and I said, "Hey, man, this is way above my pay grade. don't get your hopes up."
Just like Home Alone, where bellhop comes up, he's got his hand out, expecting that tip.
Didn't you give him a piece of gum or something?
Forgot what the name of the gum brand was at the time. Stride, something like that. Well, Cote did make the 4.9, as you saw, to save 238. Matt Jones 255. They are continuing to move right. Michael Fitzgerald is going to handle the back 5 for 225. And Andrew Kane's going to be in the 2 teens, make it 218 officially. And Chris Mays can strike out to get to 173. Back over to 5 through 8. Good morning to Kevin and everyone else who may be watching. If you are joining for the first time, this is the second squad overall, but it is the first squad of the morning here. First squad on this wonderful Saturday. We had a squad yesterday afternoon. We've got 7 bowlers already into the match play portion of things tomorrow. Of course, the top 7 in each squad advance to match play. I have 7 here from B, 7 during the C squad this afternoon, 7 from D squad tonight, and then there will be a Desperado squad. That'll be a 2-game sprint for the final 4 spots into match play.
See if we can keep our streak alive in the Desperado.
Of a tie?
Yep.
No, I would prefer to break that.
We are
can
2
break
for
that
2
tie.
in my tournament in the Cactus, and then we got one at the Agent Ong in October. So 3 for 3 in Desperados.
Gotta find the cold spots in here.
You know, I'm score watching a little bit, and 1 and 2 is typically the best pair in the house. Scores have been very low on 1 and 2. So, I mean, that pair typically hooks a little bit more, but brings bigger scores. So I'm kind of shocked that scores have been so low down there.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, that pair's had a 149, 188, 216, 182, 173, and 180. Got about a $1.80 average down there.
Which way did they go? If they went, no, I mean as far as oil, they went that way. That's weird. Maybe they didn't do the burn.
Chris Mays finished with a 163 down there.
This is the second center that in recent weeks that someone has told me the in pairs are actually the best pairs. In this case, 1 and 2, but it's still an in pair, obviously.
Yeah, 23 and 24 here. During league, people are asking if they can post bowl. I will be right back. I'm being called.
Jim Pratt. 4-pin there as Barkett's trying to get that one to peel. Sean Manning will work its way into game of the 180s. It's interesting how the pace kind of got a little bit weird yesterday, and it's the same thing that's happened, even though there are a few 3s and a few 4s, so that's a good part of it today. But right now, 9 through 16 underway in game number 4. Scored a little bit higher on this pair in comparison. Nice amount of count picked up there from Hunter Mays. It can still get to 2-0. Just hoping for a little bit of carry. Mark Myers, kind of same thing. Got to find some consistent. It is an 8-game block, so that's important for those who are starting a little slower. Good shot there from Wesley Lowe, but he's got that look too, is just trying to figure out ways to put up multiple doubles. Zweig over there with 238.
He's got a similar start to one of our qualifiers from yesterday, Tim Smith. 260, I think 160, and then 240, I think. Swag's down here with 280, 160, 230. So.
Kevin Robertson asking about seeing anything different or similar. I mean, I think they look pretty similar.
Yeah.
Overall, there's still some urethane out there. There's plenty of urethane, in fact. The being able to play out, if you can do it consistently, was definitely scoreable. Anakote is scoring. Matt Jones has been out, playing out. They're getting there a little bit differently, of course, but
yep,
they're in the same zone. Jim Pratt opened up with 278. Matt Zweig shot 280 down on the high end, and I'm assuming that he was definitely playing out.
Yeah, he was playing off the gutter.
Which means for him, he actually was playing further right today than he did yesterday.
Yeah. I was talking to Haugen yesterday, Michael Haugen, and very quickly he realized what this pattern's going to ask for, and he said, as long as you can stay right, you're going to be okay. But as soon as you start to think you have to move left, they're going to get really ugly, and I think that's what happened to some guys. Andrew King.
Start moving. Steepness started to get really tricky. Mark Myers just can't buy a strike right now. Trying hard too. I'm rooting for the man. He volunteered to move pairs this morning, so
yeah,
we want good things to happen.
Him and his wife just recently announced that she is pregnant.
Well, great things are happening then for the Myers family. That's great.
They're going to have a little girl, so good luck to them, as I have 2 girls, and it is not easy. I grew up with the lifestyle of suck it up, get over it. And that's not the case when you have girls. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what just took place either.
Maybe we can make a GIF out of that dance from Wesley.
That was great. Either he had himself just needed a mental reset. I wasn't paying that close attention. I don't know if somebody may have walked up on him inadvertently, etc. What is the lane courtesy?
It is just 1 lane courtesy. I know some of the guys are expecting 2 lane, but the expectation I give is 1 lane. If you're wanting 2, don't get upset if somebody, cuts you off. And I mean, I do 1 lane for everything that I run, so. My thought process is you should be good enough to not worry about what's going on 2 lanes away from you. Farkas here with a double in the 10th. Get him to a 180.
I've been looking at this, and I've been watching, of course, David Leverage basically for the first 3 games. And I'm like, man, I just feel if I were bowling, I feel like I'd be in that zone where Leverage has been, and he's thrown, I think, a lot of good shots. He's got 9 a lot, unfortunately. And now this game, of course, there were a few 7 counts, a couple of splits. But it's hard to get going.
Yeah. You know what, though? I mean, it's 8 games. I feel like he's one of those kind of players that can just grind. and keep himself close enough to where when he does find something, he's gonna hit it, and he's gonna hit him pretty good. All right, game 3 scores are updated. Right now, our seventh place cut score is sitting at plus 32. Our leader is Matt Zweig again at plus 82. Brianna Cote and Jim Pratt are tied for second at plus 76. Michael Fitzgerald plus 63. Matt Jones plus 34 with after that 250 game. And Wesley Lowe is tied with him at plus 34. And again, Andrew Kane is our cut number at plus 32.
So you got all those scores already?
Yeah. I got the ones down there.
Oh,
I
you
can't
already
see,
did that. Right,
and then these guys were a little behind, so.
That's crazy. I don't know why I've been such awe about that, but as he just mentioned, folks, scores after 3 are up.
I don't play around.
I listen. It might be because, like, you know, some tournaments, you know, you get the scores in a good amount of time, but you know sometimes it's just not that fast.
Yeah, tournament bowl is great. The mix of that and an iPad makes my life really easy.
Was it you was telling me that either you knew the person that created this, or maybe someone else was telling me?
I don't know him. He's, you know, I've talked to him on Facebook Messenger, and his name's Jeff DeMorris. I believe he's up in the Northwest. I mean, he's created he's created a great tool for tournament directors, that's for sure.
This is game 4 now officially. There is a front 5 down on 9 through 12, specifically 11 and 12.
Who is that? Let's see who was there. Where did we say, 11 and 12?
11 and 12. 11A, actually.
That might be Josh Chandler.
So they're moving in our direction.
Who could definitely use a big game. He didn't want to talk about it when I went down and got a score, but he had a 94 in game 3, so
okay,
this is a big turnaround game for him. You know, Matt Jones has a famous 94 game under his belt at the Masters. He bowled a 94. I think back then they did a cashers round, possibly. He bowled a 94 because his back was tight. Took some painkillers to loosen up his back and came back. I think he's like 250, 240 and made the bracket.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Youngest in Phoenix.
The most classic 90-plus game I've ever seen witnessed in person was Stephanie Zavala.
Oh, my God. I remember watching the standings with that.
96 out the gates in game 1 of match play at the 2021 Tour Championship. Then shot 260. Then ended up making the show.
I remember that. I mean, she crushed him after that 96 game. She's one that can definitely strike a bunch.
Yeah, she's fun to watch in general.
I was bowling a team tournament in California earlier in the year, and Stephanie was on the pair next to us. And my daughter was with us, and she got to meet Stephanie through Virginia Young because they're good friends. And afterwards, you know, my daughter knows Jacob and Brianna and all them. But after she met Stephanie, and then Stephanie gave her one of her signature player cards. My daughter goes to me and she goes, "She is way cooler than Jacob." I made sure to let Jacob know that.
What event was it?
It was the Chocolate Chicks team shootout in Southern California. Yeah, that tournament's incredible. I mean, Stacy Watson runs that tournament, and it's wild. I mean, she had 3 squads of 40 teams.
Wow.
2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and she had such a long wait list. She added the Saturday the weekend before and filled 80 teams.
That's impressive.
I mean,
how many players on the squad, on the team?
5-man teams.
5-man teams.
Yeah. And the way she does it, teams.
5-woman teams in this case.
Well, the teams have to have 3 men, 2 women, or vice versa.
Okay.
For that tournament. The tournament club is the Chocolate Chicks, and it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's hard to fill up anything.
Yeah, I mean, she does. It's crazy, and she'll announce a tournament, and she's sold out in a week. All those teams, so it's wild.
Oh, big 4.
Big 4 on the live stream. All right.
How about that? Hunter Mays. Well, Miss Mays, I hope you were watching that one.
Got it the hard way too. Didn't even like bounce anything out. Just slid it right over. Wow.
That one is certainly worth another look.
That's one way to save an open, huh?
My man.
You got some action on this pair. Had Wesley dancing.
You're right. You remind me to clip that.
Hunter's pairing the big 4.
That front 5 we were talking about did turn into the front 6. And the string did stop in the 7th frame.
Looks like a 10-pin down there.
Who was that again you mentioned? Was that the person you were talking about?
Yep, Joshua Chandler. Yep.
Been throwing that new blue. He started down on 1 and 2.
Super stellar guy. He bowls my Tuesday night pattern league, so he's kind of gotten to that point where he's trying to challenge himself and learn a little bit more about the game.
Isn't that just great? And I don't mean that from like the tournament director perspective, but just from the bowling aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I always say this to people, right? Sometimes, I mean, I am spoiled, right? From the work that I do, the tournaments or the levels of bowling that I do cover. Even today's youth game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like covering an extension of tour to a degree, how good youth players are now and the things that they know. But to have a player go through the process, if you will, of just learning or figuring out the sport, seeing the improvements, and then wanting to challenge themselves and not kind of stay stagnant, that is very refreshing.
Yeah. That's why I love my summer pattern league. I mean, these guys pick tough patterns. They're brutal. And, you know, I just remind everybody that at the start of that league, if they're new to the league, get used to not shooting high scores. You know, we're all there to learn, get better, sharpen our game, and it's really refreshing. You know, when I get new bowlers that join that league. I mean, we've got 24 trios teams for a summer league, so on hard stuff.
Where's that at here?
That's at R.H. Johnson, Sun City West.
Down the street.
Yep. I told Matt Jones I'm going to run him down an average. I'm a pin behind him.
That's right. Yeah, we talked about that.
But we're going to short now, so we're in my wheelhouse.
One and two already done. A couple players about to make that walk there on the left lane, down to 15 and 16.
Looks like 15 and 16 is done.
The YouTube site, right? Oh.
Virginia Young wants red square all summer.
She bowled well on red square.
Well, you don't get a ton of people asking for red square, so that would lead me to believe that. Oh, Mark Myers turns it into the front six. I don't think I saw him throw a purple earlier today, so that might be a ball change. I feel like it looks like he's figured out a way to use that early hook that we saw develop in game 2 when Jim Pratt and David Leverage started to see early hook. He's able to kind of use it to his advantage right now. I meant to talk about Tim Smith yesterday. I did a little bit, but I was very impressed. I mean, he wasn't hooking the lane with his purple hammer, but I mean, he was like launching. He was at like 13, 14 lay down.
Wow.
And it might have even been a little further than that. Getting this thing to come back too, and almost very end over endish. Impressed how he was able to do that. I feel like he threw that ball, I think, all 8 games in the same zone.
That's impressive. Looks like Brianna is struggling a little down there. She's got a strike in the 9th and can punch in the 10th for 172. So, looks like she's hit that pair.
Speaking of front fives, David Leverage had the front 5, but he finds himself with another split, 4, 6, 7.
Michael Fitzgerald getting that senior carry, even though he's not a senior. We just give him a hard time. We ask him how the PBA 50 tour is going for him, even though he's like early 40s.
Why y'all giving my guy Fitz a hard time? Virginia, how do you handle this kind of slander?
She's the one that starts it.
Probably. Probably.
When he won his first regional title, we congratulated him on his first senior PBA 50 title.
Well, all you're doing really is just foreshadowing what's going to take place in real life.
Absolutely.
In a few years.
Mark Myers stepping up here to go for 7.
That strange feeling like where scores are kind of going up. Oh, okay, Mark. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of emotion I want to see. I'm rooting for you today, man. You volunteered to switch pairs.
This is a big game here, sitting at minus 37, so.
A lot of turning point opportunities for a lot of players. Zweig.
I think Matt Jones is down there putting up a number again. He's got a chance at 250 again. He started off a little slow and let him come to him.
I'm about to ask Matt, and you might know what is Matt's, to your knowledge, like biggest win? Like what would he say potentially?
Oh, you know, I mean, he's won state masters. He's done really well at big tournaments. I don't think he's won any of the major tournaments, but locally he's won state masters. He's won Phoenix Masters. And
He's won just about everything you could win.
yeah.
Certainly locally, and has obviously challenged himself nationally.
Yep,
and has performed well.
We were joking with him when he was on the Bowling with the Theft the other day that he's the sweeper king. Tends to win a lot of sweepers.
8 in a row from Mark Myers. That's Zweig. See what Zweig is doing. I mean, it's just right off his hand. Covering 0 boards theoretically, right to left.
Got the 8-10 out on that one.
just 5, 7 of them, 8, 10 of them to death. He's doing the exact opposite of what he was doing yesterday. This is what I expected him to do yesterday. After watching him, more than enough times to understand what he likes to do, what he likes to play, especially if he sees a certain thing on the outside. He was kind of slow hooking it toward the gutter yesterday and trying to figure it out that way. And this is what I expected him to do: right to left, keep it online. And but he quickly applied his lessons learned yesterday.
Yep.
And are putting them into action.
Yeah, he's probably one of the better players at being able to keep the ball in front of him and take the, he's kind of taking the lane out of play with where he's playing. So Josh Chandler backed up his 94 with a 235.
See, that's great stuff.
Yes, love seeing it.
Oh, hook, hook, hook. All right. Good 7.
Got Ben Perry just grinding the first 4 games. 193, 216, 203, 195. Ben kind of made himself known in the inaugural Cactus Classic.
I remember that dude.
Yeah. I had no idea who he was. And then he showed up, and I think he made the round of 8.
Yeah, he got close.
And I mean, he took down some heavy hitters on his way.
I forgot who ended up beating him, but there were some very clutch performances by him.
Yeah.
10th frame to beat some really high quality opponents. I think he ended up beating Bree.
I think he probably did.
Or vice versa, because Bree was in a good match, I think, against Haugen. Or it might be the Bree-Ben Perry match I'm thinking of, but I thought she beat Michael Haugen in a very close match early on in, 2 years ago. Either way, though, the match play format of this tournament, I forgot it was single elimination, so I was like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's the Masters / Queens, but minus the double elimination part.
Yep.
Cortez Shank has gone strike spare, excuse me, 6-bagger. That's my cue. It's time for some mortar. I did this yesterday too. You get so in tune on, making sure folks are informed. You get that 4-game stretch. Oh, you haven't had water today. The throat will tell you. David Leverage did get back on it too. Take a look at 9 through 12 here in a moment. And he'll restart.
I think Brianna had a 152 that game, so definitely hit her grind pair. Got the best of her.
Michael Haugen shot 147 one game. I think it was game 3.
I think you're right.
And, that was his grind game, if you will.
Yeah. They're going to happen. They definitely happen.
So Cortez got a chance to shoot 280.
And I was looking at some of the scores yesterday, and some of them like avoid that bad game and they make the cut. Dawn Convey, I think she was even outside of her 130 game.
Yeah, she really bowled well.
She bowled great. Just hit that one pair. And
we're talking to or about who was it?
Dawn Convey.
Yes, but it was someone else.
Oh, yeah.
Who had a similar situation.
Yeah, somebody else had a 130. Kevin Jenkins had a 130.
Yeah, very late, unfortunately,
Yep.
in the tournament. Game 7, in fact, and shot 214.
Cost him making the number. Yep.
In game 8, Chris DeMarco, who was bowling pretty well. She shot 128 game 2, but never could put enough larger games late.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take that out of play, she's right there at the end with a chance to make it. Fine family there. Nice couple, Chris and Joey got a chance to meet and have share a meal with last night, along with no, Doug and Jordan and Jacob and Michael Hauck. Appreciate the company.
Did you guys make it out to a steakhouse? Is that what I was hearing?
Yeah, I mean, if you know, little Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, love it.
You know, we're not talking like 8 Michelin stars or anything, but
Hey,
Texas Roadhouse gets done.
those bread rolls.
Gets it done.
Those bread
Gotta watch
rolls.
the carbs.
I don't watch the carbs. I watch the carbs as I eat them. Especially with their bread rolls and that butter. That is some good stuff.
Nice bounce back game for Mark. 267. Yeah, that's right, Kevin. Yeah, John Verbal late had a tough game, which also happened on 1 and 2. You were talking about scores being low on 1 and 2. His low game took place on 1 and 2. I feel like KJ, he might have finished on 1 and 2.
Yeah, he finished on 1-2 because he started on 15 and 16. So he had his 130 on 3 and 4.
Of which I think both Haugen and Christian Marco had their low games in this zone too.
Yeah. I think Haugen had his on 3 and 4. Because I want to say he started on 7 and 8.
Both Chris and Hunter off the mark here. 228 for Zweig. Here is Cortez Shank. And that one is off the mark as well.
Man, what is going on?
Some uncharacteristic miscues. Shank had an opportunity to shoot 280, but he makes the spare. He's going to be in the 250s.
How good does that kid throw it?
Well, every time I see him, you know, I mean, I'm no longer like shocked, mesmerized by it to a degree. I fully expect him to, you know, make match play, go make a deep run or win it.
Yep.
Right? You know, it's just those are the expectations. I'm sure for himself and anyone who's watching knows it'd be like a rare to see him struggle.
He's definitely one of those guys that I see is going to win on tour. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when for Cortez. He's going to get his fair share out there.
And he was a waiver wire pickup too this year in the league.
Saw that. That was really cool. I like that they added that. That little piece.
For the shoot. Kingpins? Maybe? No. Can't remember. I know someone in the chat knows. Went to the waiver wire though. That was pretty cool. He won the New Mexico Open title a couple years ago. You bowling that this year?
I'm debating.
Okay.
I'm kind of getting the itch to bowl.
Last time you bowled well.
Yeah, made a run to the top 8. I hadn't bowled in a month.
So just follow that game plan.
I'll probably do the same. I mean, our league ends at the end of July. Probably won't touch a ball until either the league starts or until I go to New Mexico Open. So. I'm just currently at a point in my life where bowling, myself bowling, is not #1 priority. And I enjoy running tournaments and, you know, my family time, and keep busy with work and everything else. So work and coaching, and
yeah,
never in my life did I think I'd coach girls soccer.
Yeah, how'd that go yesterday?
Our team was okay. I mean,
No way.
yeah.
That's legendary. That's not a century. That's like 300 next game. That's
I'm getting asked about the 94 score if it was correct. It indeed was.
You gotta admire the resolve. That is true resolve right there to kind of get back on it, especially mentally on a difficult lane condition.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's very easy after shooting 94 to kind of shut down and go, all right, well, I have no chance, and just be done for the day. Wesley Lowe with the pocket 5-pin there. .210. It's a hard fall. .210 for Chris. Wesley was close to maybe buying around there. Had to buy a whole round for the squad and everybody at B3. Yeah.
Shout out to B3, by the way. Calderon family. Another 4-9 made.
Good group of people over there at B3. We just got another walk-in entry for our next squad.
Do you have online entries or what?
No, text messages.
Gotcha. I'm like, I saw you look at your watch.
All right, I got 5 scores I got to go grab that I couldn't see, so I will be back.
All right, Michael Fitzgerald joining us here for game number 5. Keith Fong. Chris Mays on 5 and 6. Hook. Then we'll have John Mayer, Cortez Shank, and Matt Zweig on 7 and 8. Sean, I saw your note too about we were talking about Matt's biggest wins, Matt Jones. And you said TNBA Rodman about that. Yeah, if you beat Faro and GG3, that says a lot. Faro made the step ladder last year at the New Mexico Open. Just mentioned David Leverage. Making that 4-9. Show that to you here in just 1 second. And for David too, that was in, shoot, that was frame 2. Another good shot. All right, let's see. Leverage. And there it is. Well done. Good morning to Marlon Brown. Marlon, did I see correctly that you got yourself a college graduate now? I feel like that just happened. Like you just had a son go play football. And he graduated already? That's impressive. Congratulations if I'm not making that up. If I am making it up, then just congratulations in advance. Next squad scheduled to begin at 12:30 p.m. local time. It'll be 3:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're joining us for the first time today, welcome to Bowl Stream TV on YouTube. My name is Emil Williams Jr. You are watching B Squad qualifying here, the third annual CBE 10K Cactus Classic. Ran by Theo Duthay. Theo's been in the booth with me a couple of games here. He's the tournament director, so he's taking a moment to go run down some scores. Click on the
Stay off my lane. Sorry, Mike. So I can call interference and reshoot my 710?
I thought you were going to stop when it was flying.
Where'd it go? That is fine.
It was landing in the gutter just as you were throwing your ball on the left side.
Please hit the thumbs up, share, and certainly subscribe
Yeah, I thought you were going to hold up on
to the
your
YouTube channel.
ball. Do it anyway.
We'll be here all day today. Had A Squad yesterday afternoon, and then tomorrow morning we kick off match play at 8 a.m. local time, 11 a.m. Eastern. But again,
Left side on lane 5, way down. Down. It must have fallen down then. It was, I saw it go falling.
apparently there was a grip of someone's that made its way somewhere near lane 5, perhaps in the gutter.
Well, I just thought, I saw it in the air and go down. So I was throwing it fall.
Mike Dermeyer will go down and investigate, and there it is. No, it wasn't a finger insert. It was a full-on interchangeable thumb slug. I think it was Joshua Brown who lost his thumb slug. He's over on lane 3. Let's see if it works, is the question for Joshua here. One of the re-entrants from this squad, or from yesterday, I should say. Well, the ball, the slug, I should say, stayed in. Unfortunately, Josh did not make the spare. Keith Fong making the change from urethane to reactive. Game 5 yesterday, Kevin, I think you were watching at this point too. This is kind of where it got tricky for a lot of players. I don't know if that's going to happen just because of the overall caliber of this field. And for the most part, like Mark Myers' look has just gotten better as the tournament or as the squad has gone on. Yeah, Virginia, I'm going to have to do some investigating. Because I certainly obviously wasn't looking for it, wasn't watching it. But apparently, obviously it happened. And apparently, according to those around us, it happened like right in Michael's backswing. Went flying and then landed. Which lets me know that Fitzgerald is just a focused player on the lanes. Just had a quick convo with Mark Myers about his look. So he's been throwing his purple hammer the entire time. Of course, he started on 11 and 12. He's been working his way left and talking about some of the early hook that he's been seeing. But, you know, he's now in a position where he's using that early hook to his advantage. Ball standing up and shaping as we saw on 5 and 6, and it's still doing the right things on 3 and 4. Just as I say that, he just kind of gassed one a little bit. On to Mayer. Can we get this world to change? Maybe. He's got a good start, though, to game number 5. Looks like 13, 14, 15, and 16. Just about done with game number 5. I mean, how rare is it, though, right, with the thumb slug situation? Now, I've never had this happen. A, because I don't have interchangeable thumb slugs. I'm one of those probably the 1% now who don't have interchangeable thumbs. I also don't really bowl, so it's not a necessity, quote unquote, for me at the moment. Although it should be, because I am someone who has significant thumb issues or trouble with proper feel. But nonetheless, I've seen a ton of thumb slugs right pop out. How rare is it do you actually get one to land properly in the gutter, and then not only land in the gutter, but it's it's able to be found because it's in the gutter. Those things end up in the back, they end up underground, and then never to be seen again. They fall into the abyss. Anybody out there had that situation? Feels very common now. You get yourself a thumb slug that dips, pops out, and then unfortunately it's not found. 9 and 10 right now. Well, there was a couple of players with spare 4-bagger. There's still one. We'll take a look at, or get an update, I should say, on Cote and Matt Jones. They've made the flip now. They're going to be on 1 and 2 here shortly, and back in camera range. Best place to be if you're on 5 through 8, folks, is the ceiling fan in between lane 6 and 7. Eats Fong asking for the big wheel. Now, I have no grip affiliations. In fact, I have no affiliations to any ball, brand, company, etc. So, but even if I did, I feel like I would be able to still speak freely in this regard. But I've heard a lot of people in the industry, bowlers in particular, mention Jopo when they discuss grips now in a favorable manner. So it's pretty clear that they have entered the market and put in a very good, great, solid product. So shout out to Jopo and Vice and Turbo and everyone else who puts these things together that help us bowl. Everyone's got something that they like. I was still kind of when I was really bowling, and this was before interchangeables. Actually, I don't know now. I feel like interchangeables have been around for a long time. It's me and my non-bowling perspective that gets the years mixed up. But I used to be a mold kind of person, which probably was an interchangeable before an interchangeable. But I was a mold the thumb. And kind of helps that still get it right every time. You can mold it even with a piece of tape in it if you wanted to. It was perfect. Myers is still putting in work. See that update too, by the way. Been a while since I mentioned some scores. I know they were updated after 4. Matt Zweig plus 110. Again, in case you missed it, score. Again, Zweig at plus 110. Now I look up and I'm seeing I just seen a re-rack, so I had to make sure it was indeed a re-rack and not an unfortunate miscue of the terrible kind, if you will, in the 10th frame there for young Matty. I do see a 241 down on 11 and 12, so again, scores starting to get a little higher. Matt Herbert down on no, excuse me, that's Mike Marcus who can get into the 250s on 1 and 2. Apologies for the hiccup there, but I told you yesterday. Well, if you didn't join us yesterday, you didn't hear this. But there is a little bit of a connectivity blip. That seems like it happens. First time it happens about an hour 45 in.
Love's giving me money.
Every 2 hours. Like we are hopefully in a good position to be all right. Well, I will tell you this, Virginia, based on what I've seen for the first day and some change, we might enter the matrix at least once per squad. We just always hope it's not in the most inopportune times. Meanwhile, Fitzy on in the two teams. Cortez Shank, 5 through the middle. Virginia mentioned that perhaps this squad starting a little further right is the key. And I will say this, okay, almost no matter what level I've watched bowling at, if a squad tends to start further right, and of course you assume that the squad is predominantly right-handed, if that does happen, it typically bodes well for the squad as a whole as the day goes on or the squad goes on. I've seen this certainly on PWBA Tour. Sometimes you start a little further left or a squad starts a little further left and it gets tricky. It looks okay for a couple and then all of a sudden really difficult. Yeah, it's a good phrase. Because we all need to be connected. But sometimes there is a glitch, much like the Matrix. Just like Ed Smaglick, who just connectivity glitched an 8-pin on 9 and 10 at the bottom right of your screen. The loft from Chris Mays. It's been a difficult game here for Chris. In fact, that 6th through 9th frame stretch. So, if you're just joining us, so Joshua Brown and Michael Fitzgerald are now discussing the thumb slug situation. The funny thing was no one back here saw it. I'm assuming Joshua Brown. He knew what was out. Ed Smaglick had an opportunity to get into the 250s, but an 8-pin said no way. Thumb slug gate. Good shot from Wesley Lowe. Oh, he can get into the 250s. He's got one more to do it. I got Charlie Price Trying to roll him over there to get to 170 instead of 168. Nicely done, Wesley Lowe. Big game in the 250s. Mike moves over to 3 and 4. Keep an eye on that pair. In fact, Hunter Mays, Matt Jones, and Brianna Cote back over there. I think Matt Herbert is probably now, or I'm sorry, Mark Myers should be on 1 and 2 now as well. 258. Wesley Lowe. Big game. Ben Perry is, I believe, moving left there. Kevin, he's going to be on. He's on 9 and 10 at the moment, or I should say, will be on as we start Game 6. Dawg also on 9 and 10, being the bottom right of your screen. We just talked about Ben Perry a little bit, opening up some eyes a couple of years ago, bowling this tournament. Brianna Cote, after a bit of a tough game in Game 4, shoots a 152 in Game 4, back at it at 225. Scores are updated after 5, and Cortez Shank right now is 7th at plus 41. Again, plus 41 with 3 games to go. He is currently the number, plus 41.
Hey, it's all good.
Look at 1 through 4 now on the bottom right of your screen too, with Cote, Jones, and Fitzgerald. And again, Mark Myers trying to make a little charge too. Yes, it's getting a little serious over there. Matt Zweig, your leader at plus 133. Jim Pratt second at plus 119. Leslie Lowe at plus 105. Matt Jones at plus 65. That's fourth. Cote is fifth at plus 53. Mark Myers sixth at plus 43. And again, Cortez Schenk at plus 41. He's seventh. Michael Fitzgerald is eighth currently at plus 35. Ben Perry is ninth at plus 23. So take a look at, again, what's happening on 9 through 12. A little bit. I'll go kind of maybe back and forth between what's on the bottom of your screen and certainly what's on full screen as we get closer to the end of these games. Andrew Kane, by the way, is 10th at -8. So there are 9 players who are plus. Two re-entrants. Someone asked earlier about re-entry cost. Is it lower? Yes, it is. I believe it's 175, I think. Ooh, good shot. Who are we rooting for out there? I know who some players or some viewers right now are watching. Michael Fitzgerald is starting to do that thing he does. He's got spare 5-bagger. Cortez Schenk, just every time I watch him, I'm always just so impressed with how he gets out of it so clean. I mean, it just looked like there was just not an ounce of grab there. And if there is, I mean, he does a great job of hiding it. See, bottom right of your screen. Maybe a touch slower there. He leaves at 3.610. Mark Myers It's a good break over on 1 and 2. We do have a front 6 down there. On 1 and 2, that is. Cote has gone 3-bagger, split 3-bagger. Again, top 7 advance to match play tomorrow morning. Oh, geez. That's a thank you. That front 6 was from Hunter Mays. And that run stops at 6. Tess trying to get that that string to keep going. He had an opportunity at 280 in the previous game. Or 2 games ago at this point. Ended up shooting a 257. Nice shot by Chris Mays. He's got 3 in a row now. Nicholas Tejada also over on 3 and 4. That one out the window for John Mayer, trying to clean it up. Firmly at that point, folks, where it's that could go either way for a few players right now. Cote was either yelling for something. Might have got one way right. Wow. Boy, Shank is going through it here on 5 and 6. This is one of those games, again, it's getting interesting. What's still at the basis, though, of this pattern? Throw it on the screen for those who haven't seen it yet. Again, 43 feet, 25.65 mils. It is flat. 1.7 to 1 on the right, 1.85 to 1 on the left. That speed bump, where now several players, of course, righties in particular, have now moved into the middle part of the lane. and which to me is where that speed bump really comes into play based on what I've seen now through almost 2 full squads. Sometimes you get your ball to push and hit. Sometimes it just pushes for no regard. Like it's just gonna keep going and going and going, and then get the slight wiggle. But making spares, if you can hit the pocket and make a spare, especially later in the blocks, to hang on. Like if you can get some pins early and kind of hang on for dear life at the end, or if you're like Mark Mazzulla, who ran down the number yesterday. In fact, the last 2 games he went 225, 226 respectively to be 7th in A squad and punch a ticket into the top 32. Fitz shoots 209. Mark Myers down on 1 and 2. He just left a big 4. And he was looking at 2-0 with a mark. Matt Jones over there working on a 5-bagger. He too threw the nose and leaves a 3-6. Spare gets him in the 220s. Yeah, that group on 1 and 2 right now putting in some work. And we did have a lot of low scores on that pair earlier. That's why I'm still looking to add to his leading total at the moment. Just split in the 9th frame. He's over on 9 and 10. Matt Jones made the spare, so he's going to be in the 220s. A good count. He'll need 8 to get there. Hunter Mays crosses over. Spare gets him in the 240s. Again on 1 and 2. Talking about Joshua Chandler. Tough game, and then battle back to shoot 235. Figuring things out. He's going to move over to 5 and 6 here in a moment. From 7 and 8. Chris May shoots 223. His brother Hunter is going to be in the 240s after the made spare. Shank 10th frame. Oh my goodness. Wow. Boy, Cortez has been put through it here this game. And then Brianna Cote just washed out. And it's been the left lane. He gave it a run too. 174 with 4 splits. Cote washed out for 210. What an interesting, very interesting way to finish up the game for a lot of players there. Good look at 9 through 12 as we finish up this game 6. Again, Cortez was 8th. Few pins back of 7th prior to that game. I'm sorry, he was 7th, I beg your pardon. He was 7th. He was 6 pins in front of 8th. So he lost some pins, of course, and will drop out of that top 7. Fitzgerald is definitely moving in. We'll see if Ben Perry might make that jump too. He is currently 9th at plus 23. And Ben Perry can double in the 10th frame here or add 2 more in the 10th and get into the 220s. Zweig just keeps firing away. Another game of the 220s for Matt Zweig. Let's see where Wesley Lowe. Wesley is 3rd at plus 105. Ben Perry, if he makes this pair, would put him in the 2-0s with good count. Zweig 223. Ed Smaglik strike away from 220. A few games left still to be bowled over there. At 230 out there for someone. Strike to get Ben Perry here to 202. That would move him to plus 25. And he too would move in front of Cortez Shank. 200 even, so he'll remain at plus 23, still good enough to be in the top 7 right now, unless, or maybe not. Actually, he might be 8th. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think anyone did anything. Mark Myers did shoot 180, so we might have 2 people move in the top 7 and 2 fall out for the time being. And you saw Wesley Lowe, Greek Church. That was Wesley. The opportunity to get into the 230s, and now Church is there. And not Church's chicken. This has turned into the oh, what fun, theoretically. And then insert the whatever level of sarcasm you want. But it seems to get tougher as the block goes on. Coco Jen, what's happening is this pattern is happening. That's one trend that keeps on trending, it looks like. Yesterday, the difference was, I think, you had some players start out and then a few players trying to figure out what to do and kind of started everywhere, right? So, a little bit of a mixed bag. There was still plenty of score to get on fresh, just like today. And then they seem to kind of hold up maybe longer, like a game longer compared to Paris and yesterday. And now you're in a situation where full-on transition that just took place on certain pairs. Pair to pair is difficult. So it's right now it's a survive and advance situation. Like if you're in, you're literally just trying to survive, make spares. If you can hang around 2-0. I mean, 190 sounds great, but you are still giving back 10 pins. And I mentioned what Mark Mazzulla did yesterday to get to the number. 226, 225, I'm sorry, 225, 226 games 7 and 8 respectively to get there. So Cortez Shane's going to have a little bit of work to do, for example. We do have scores up. Jim Pratt, back-to-back games in the 240s. Mr. Pratt is back into the lead. Jim Pratt at plus 161. It's kind of one of those things where you have to get it when you can and quickly realize if a pair is going to be a nemesis. Take what you can, hopefully it's makeable, and make it. Well, Javon having two extremely close calls, about as close as you can get on a 4-pin and I believe it was a 6-pin. Again, scores available after 6 games. Make sure you either click the pin link above or hit refresh. This is a player that, again, Theo was talking about. Someone who is, speaking of Javon here, challenging himself. His work continued to improve. Brianna Cote, Matt Jones to the left on 3 and 4 with John Mayer, Cortez Shank. 4 really good players. Josh Chandler. We had a few Joshuas in the field. We had Josh Williams yesterday. We've got Joshua Brown. He bowled yesterday, is bowling again this morning. And Joshua Chandler. There's Charlie Price. Where is Charlie? He's 17th right now at minus 58. Mark Myers is the number currently at plus 34. Ben Perry is 8th. But Fitz did move back into it. So it's Pratt, Zweig, Wesley Lowe, Matt Jones, Brianna Cote, Michael Fitzgerald, and Mark Myers currently at plus 34 with 1 game to go. And on the outside at the moment, Ben Perry. Ben Perry is 11 pins back. Cortez Shank, again, falls from 7th to 9th. Shank at plus 15, but he's just 8 pins back. David Leverage shot 237 in game 6. He's at plus 14. Look at the line for Leverage today. 195, 178, 193, 218, 193, 237. I mean, you would take that, especially on this. I mean, that's a pretty good block. They may not get him an advancement. Mr. Leverage, by the way, David is down on 15 and 16, I think, out of range. So should get back to, yeah, they'll get back to 1 and 2. So they'll be in camera view. We can check them out for game number 8 specifically. I'll watch him try to run down the number. Hunter Mays is at minus 14 and 11th. Hunter has now made that move left, so he's down on 15 and 16 too, but continuing to move left. Score still picking up on 1 and 2. In fact, Michael Fitzgerald trying to help solidify a spot in the top 32. Struck again in the 9th. And he's got a chance to get into the 260s with a 10th frame left. And we'll take you there here full screen in a moment. They are on the picture-in-picture. Chris Mays over there having trouble with carry, and Chris is at minus 75. Trying to move into position and maybe make a run late. All right, Cote. Couple of splits in game 7. 108 in the 6th for Brianna Cote. Carlton Johnson. Love the headband from Carlton today. Struggling a little bit here, though. He might be in a position, or actually will be in a position to have to re-enter if he want to make the top 32. Fitz did strike. Matt Jones and Cote just, again, try not to do anything wild that moves them out of the number currently. Nicholas Tejada. Big double. All right, down to 1 and 2 here. Fitzgerald, left of your screen. He is currently in the 250s. Strike here puts him in the 260s with 1 game to go. 2-4-8's in, but he's already done the work. Fitz, who was at plus 44 in 6th place on this squad, is going to make the big jump. he gets count here, he'll move to plus 98. All of a sudden, Cortez Shank, much better position on lanes 3 and 4. You see a good shot from Cote. Our plus 97 with a game left for Michael Fitzgerald. We're going to see if anybody's going to make it interesting as Mark did yesterday. Thought that could have been maybe Chris Mays. It still potentially could be. $220 there would have been nice. Nicholas Tejada get you back over to 5 through 8 here in a moment. In fact, let's do it now. Ben Perry. Ben Perry is one of those players. It's either going to, again, continue to be right outside the number or maybe jump in. Charlie Price. One more puts him in the 230s. Oof. That was one of the best shots. I mean, I've watched Cortez throw a lot of really good shots, but that one was fantastic. We're on 4. Tejada, nicely done. Great finish. Nick Tejada shoots 235. Mike Barkus at minus 23. This might be him that's got spare 5-bagger. Oh, it is. Mike Barkus. Maybe trying to come off the top rope, folks, and disrupt this top 7. We'll keep an eye on him. He's on 13 and 14. Just outside of any camera range. But he's got spare 6-bagger. Ben Perry can get into the 220s with 2 in the 10. Again, Perry at plus 23. Listen to Ben Perry's line: 193, 216, 203, 195, 216, 200. His low game is 193. His high game is 216 twice. Good shot. And right up the boards, too. And not just up 5. That looked like, I don't know, 11, 12-ish? Maybe even closer than that. So that had been hard to tell from this angle. It looks like Ben Perry's like, hey, I'm not playing any games. Just going right at the head pin. Shank did open in the 9th. He still got 234 left and still can advance here with 1 game left. So it looks like it's going to come down to Ben Perry Cortez Shank. Fitz is now at plus 97, so he's just got to remain clean. David Leverage is going to be in the mix. And now Mike Barkus, who struck again, might find himself in the number here with one game to go. As Benton Perry still cannot shoot anything higher than 216, but again, just like the David Leverage line I was talking about, you would take that. We'll do 1 through 4. 10th frame here. Matt Jones makes the spare. Strike gets him to 191. Matt Jones was 4th at plus 86, so he would give 9 back. But meanwhile, Shank at plus 15. Would love to double here. Hook, hook, bang. Coming off 5 and 6, where he left 4 splits on the left lane, lane 5. We always talk about here the peer-to-peer or the P2P right there, right? That acronym peer-to-peer, but in bowling, P2P is pair-to-pair. And it could be the difference of advancements today in your respective squad, or having to either re-enter into BC, or at this point C or D, or certainly re-entering that Desperado. Indeed. Count certainly important here for Cortez Shank. Speaking of count, Rihanna Cote at plus 63. He doesn't want to be in a position with 1 left to be fighting. Bang. That's how important that shot was. That puts her in the 190s. Barkus did miss in the 9th frame, but he made the spare, so he's got 268 left. Speaking of Mike Barkus down on 13 and 14, this is the power of an 8-game block, folks. Great 10th frame, great game there for Shank. He knows that's 260 minus the 9th frame, but 234 certainly helps at this point in the tournament. That puts him to plus 49. Cote is now going to give pins back, but 5 would be okay. That would bring her to plus 58. All right, 195. And here we go, folks. Game 8. Matt Jones, Rihanna Cote will have a bird's eye view. We'll have a bird's eye view of Ben Perry as well. All 3 players going to be in the mix. 2 of them are in the number. Ben Perry could find himself in here after all of the scores are tallied. Looks like we've got a similar situation that we had yesterday, where the high end is going to be done last, and the low end here where we are is going to be done first. Again, the player to watch right now, who is going to move over to 11 and 12, so we'll be able to watch his final game, is Mike Barkus. Wesley Lowe, that was a big shot in the 10th frame, puts him in the 190s. One more, he's in the 2-0s. Ooh, David Leverage just got a nice little tap on the 10. He's in the 200s, I think, but I can't tell by how much. This one's going to come down to certainly the 10 frame again. It's going to be interesting. Again, David Leverage, Mike Barkas, Ben Perry. They're definitely in the mix here. Speaking of Ben Perry, yeah, I mentioned much closer to the head pin. That was about 12-13. If you're just tuning in, this is game 8, first squad of the morning, or of the day, I should say. Live from Lakeview Lanes in Sun City, Arizona. About 30 minutes from the Phoenix airport. 35-40 minutes essentially from downtown Phoenix, to give you a little bit of context. Boldstream TV, my name is Emil Williams Jr. Big thanks to Complete Bowling Events and Theo Duthay. Opportunity to return and provide some live coverage here for the 3rd annual CBE 10K Cactus Classic. Someone will win $10,000 tomorrow afternoon. Of course, our preliminary rounds to figure out who's going to be in position to do so. Top 7 in each squad. We had a squad yesterday, A squad, now a B squad. On the lanes finishing up. C squad will hit the lanes 12:30 local time. And then tonight we'll have our 6 p.m. squad. Again, 6 p.m. local. At 12:30 is 3:30 Eastern. And then 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. If you have this broadcast on in the background on a busy Saturday, maybe you've watched for a few minutes, a couple games, etc. and so forth. Appreciate you. Every view counts. Please hit that thumbs up, smash it. Please share and subscribe to Boldstream TV if you have not already. Jones and Cote both start with doubles. Again, and they are just trying to put the check mark by their names. Bree has bowled 7 a.m. I think Matt Jones bowled 7 a.m. last week or last year too. But she's bowled to 7 a.m. the last couple of years as well. Last year she had to re-enter. She did not advance. Not trying to have that happen again. She did end up advancing, of course, and moving on to match play. Matt Jones is like he's moved out of urethane here for game 8. Appreciate you, Kevin. Prime example, working and watching. Well, that's a tough break. Brutal break there for Mr. Johnson second. A lot of people like to kind of drive and listen and kind of treat it like the radio in a sense. And I try to give you a little bit of both. What's happening obviously on the screen, but a little bit of that radio feel. Giving you an update on what's happening around what you do not see. So Jim Pratt and David Leverage moved over to 1 and 2, along with Cortez Shank, John Mayer. Meanwhile, Cote and Jones, oh, they got some rhythm and some momentum. I love that phrase or that word, lurking. There's some players right now that are lurking. Let's hit the refresh button. All right, so we have scores after 7, folks, and here we go. Again, scores are updated after 7. Please refresh. If you've got the tab open, or if you don't, please click the link that is pinned to the top of the chat. Jim Pratt is your leader at plus 189. Matt Zweig is second at plus 112. Wesley Lowe is third at plus 104. Michael Fitzgerald is fourth at plus 97. Matt Jones is fifth at plus 75. Brianna Cote is sixth at plus 58. Cortez Shank now is back into seventh at plus 49. Ben Perry is currently eighth at plus 38. Mike Barkas with the 258 game is now ninth at plus 35. David Leverage is 10th at plus 33. Ed Smaglik 11th at plus 27. Hunter Mays is 12th at plus 26. Mark Myers is 13th at plus 14. And then you go down to Charlie Price in 14th place. He's minus 20. It is pretty darn close. That's why what Jones and Cote are doing right now, supremely important. In essence, they're just simply playing follow the leader.
I went down to 3 or 6, so 2 hours. It'd be like that sometimes. Come on, man. Come on, man. Drink that tea, bro.
4 in a row now for Cote. It's funny that I'm so used to, of course, working on the PWBA tour, that my eyes want to go further down to the cut number. Like, 12. For example, I keep wanting to go down there, but it's 7. I have to force myself to stop. But in this case, you actually do need to go down to 12. It's the amount of players who are still in the mix here for the final couple of spots just on this squad. Again, if you're unfamiliar with the format, the top 7 players in each squad automatically advance to match play. Top 7. There are 4 full squads of 8 games. That's 28 players. The Desperado, very late tonight, has 4 spots available in the 2-game sprint, and that's how the 32-player field is full. 5 in a row from both Jones and Cote. Again, our pairs down here are going to finish first. Ben Perry trying to get it in gear. Lead 7. Ben Perry again. High game 216 twice. His low game 193. He's got 5 200-plus games, including 200 on the nose, 203, 215, and a couple of 190s. And fighting for a spot here. Speaking of fighting, Andrew Kane at minus 43. He's got spare 4-bagger on 3 and 4. That is the definition of lurking right there, Andrew Kane. At this point, you would factor in he's going to need them all, theoretically. But it is Andrew Kane. Right now, 7 pins separates Ben Perry and Cortez Shank. That's 7th and 8th. Shank in 7th, Perry in 8th. Front 6 for Matt Jones. Speaking of Cortez, he is clean through 4. Early double, spare, spare. Well, I tell you, this one's going to be difficult. There's going to be some couple players who's going to have to re-enter or take the chances in the Desperado tonight. Cote still matching. Jones, Cote dueling 300s as they both are trying to solidify spots in the top 7.
No pressure.
Baker 300, baby.
They're joking now about the Baker 300 they have accomplished at this point. David Leverage is down on 1 and 2. You can see him in the bottom right of your screen, along with Cortez Shank. Leverage with the front 4. Maddie.
Oh, wow.
Gives the, oh man. The good shot. Good shot reference or a hand gesture. The old 3 fingers up. Ooh, David Leverage just wrapped a nasty 10-pin. Just on the bottom right of your screen. So again, 1 and 2, very important there. Lanes 1 and 2 specifically. Andrew Kane has not stopped yet. Ben Perry, meanwhile, and he's got to start striking here. Wow, it's interesting that his angle is so direct, right? I think it's just not giving him enough. It was a follow the leader situation for real here. Cortez Shank split in the 5th frame. Again, if you're just joining us, we are in game 8. Scores are available after 7. Jim Pratt, the leader of the squad. Matt Zweig is second at +112. Wesley Lowe third at +104. Michael Fitzgerald fourth at +97. And Andrew Kane's opportunity may have just went by the wayside there. He just 7-10'd in the 8th frame. Matt Jones 5th at +75. Brianna Cote was 6th at +58, and 7th was Cortez Shank at +49. Shank is on the pair with David Leverage, who is 10th at +33. Ben Perry on the pair here, of course, on 5 and 6 in front of us. He's 8th at +38, 7 pins behind Cortez Shank. I'm sorry, 11 pins, I beg your pardon. 11 pins. And then Mike Barkas, who moved down to 11 and 12. And I think Mike has started with 3 bagger, 9 spare strike. I'll confirm that here in a moment. So that's what's on the line. What's up, Bo Brunick? I just saw that Spider-Man reference there. You are correct, Kevin. That's funny. Cortez Shank high flush on 1 and 2. Question for the chat: if you are Ben Perry right now, and essentially you've got to carry, because that's the difference right now. He's all over the 1-2, week 7, light mixture 10 that doesn't fall. What would you do? And it looks like he's going to reactive. He's got his high game of the tournament. And this block, of course, still out there. It would be 217. Would that be enough? Who knows, but he's going to give it a shot. Makes the ball change, looking for more hook and some carry. Boy, he needed that. Had to have it. Four pin on 1 and 2 for David Leverage. Both Cote and Matt Jones have just about put the check mark down. By the way, that was and is Mike Barkas with the front 3 9 spare double situation. He just left a single pin. Speaking of Barkas, he's on 13 and 14. Keeping you updated there. We'll go to that group in a minute. Well, yeah, he's on 11 and 12, I beg your pardon. He just made the 6 pin. He talked to me this morning. Hadn't been bowling much. Had to try to get over a little bit of an injury. Ben Perry, got to have it. That's tough too, right? You make the ball change, you go to reactive. You know, your angle's going to be now a little bit different. So he got that one kind of up the lane. Cote, boy, that one just held. I like the enthusiasm here from Mr. Johnson II. Yeah, I know it's tough, Kevin. I think he made the right decision, right? He basically said, all right, I've got to go for it, and he went for it. Made the ball change, anticipating. Obviously, it would hook a little bit more. You'll get more, or hoping that that extra strength, if you will, it's like extra strength Advil, would then allow him to carry. He just missed on that shot. But now, unfortunately, the best he can do is 197. And the best he can do is plus 35. And for even just those around him, all pacing certainly in the 2 teens at this point, and would be more than what he has to offer this game. Matt Jones going to be in the 240s. Solidify himself a spot. Jim Pratt, I can hang around and be your overall leader. Jones going to be in the 250s. David Leverage got a ton of hold. He got himself a nice break. He's going to be in the 250s if he can produce 2 more in the 10th. Cortez Shank working on the 3-bagger. He can shoot 240.
I'm a fool.
Nice game by Matt Jones. Ben Perry, he's going to be second guessing it, but I don't think he could have really bowled any better, to be quite honest. He was right there all day. The goal being just control the pocket. He had full control of the pocket all day long. It was simply a matter of carry. He took a risk, and effectively, it did pay off. It's just a little bit too late. Jim Pratt going to be in the 230s and should hang around and hold on to the overall lead. Let's see, Jones 257, Cote 243, and Perry 187. So down to 1 through 4. Matt Jones ends up at plus 132. Cote at plus 101. So Cortez Schenk can get to plus 89. Leverage at plus 33. We get to plus 90. And now David Leverage with, no pun intended, all the leverage to go around Cortez Schenk. He's already around Perry by default. Bang. David Leverage. Leverage now in the 240s. Shank's going to be at 219 with a strike. And for Tez, if he strikes, that will put him at plus 68. Mike Barkas can still put a stamp on it. Oh, there's one other player. Uh-oh. Mark Myers with a string down there. Why, this is giving Mark Mazzulla vibes from last night. Leverage. To a knee. David Leverage. And as we finish up watching what is important right now, we bring in who I know Theo confirmed it because he asked me what I want to talk to the squad leader. So I'm going to assume that Jim Pratt is indeed the squad leader. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jim. Great bowling. I got to ask you, of course, I saw A Squad yesterday, had a chance to get pins early on the fresh. You were able to do the same thing. What did you see on this 43-foot pattern that allowed you to not only get off to a good start, but manage the transition and then kind of complete a full block of 8 games?
I mean, the fresh, I used urethane and just try to keep it in front of me. Break point, try to get like between 6 and 9. But I had a good look and took advantage of it. And then just going, then it's just managing pair to pair. That's just, that's there's a little bit of a luck in there, and there's also just, I made a lot of ball changes, and they just happened to work. So I think I used 5 different balls a day, so which is a lot for me. Usually I stick with 1 or 2 and then just try to manage the transition. But yeah, they were definitely playable today. I'm sure that this squad was pretty strong, so I'm sure that had a little bit to do with it. So the probably was a little better than yesterday's, maybe pair to pair. So because I saw a lot of big and really bad scores.
A lot
yesterday.
of drastic differences.
Yeah. So we had it pretty good pair to pair. There was a lot of urethane going down the lane, so I mean, If you get a pair that has all urethane, or if you had to get a pair that got very little, I mean, you're going to see a huge difference between those pairs. So,
Was there a favorable scenario in that sense? Like, you were using urethane, so when you were moving, would you have preferred to get a pair that already had a ton of urethane, or not in that sense for you?
I guess it depended on where I was. I mean, like, you know, later on they became a little more blended. So there was, it's just a mathematical thing. You're going to get enough. When there's enough play, there's enough urethane throughout the whole block that the pair-to-pair will become similar. But early on, since I was using urethane, I'd probably rather follow urethane a little bit, because it's going to make my ball reaction probably a little more readable.
Right.
But if you're throwing reactive and you're following urethane, then that makes it a little tougher. But I didn't feel like they pushed down that bad. It wasn't because the most of urethane was played a little more in. It wasn't like we were playing up 5 with it. If we were all playing out with it, it would have probably been a lot worse. But we were playing the track and a little left, so keep it in front of you. So that pushed the oil towards the middle of the lane as opposed to pushing it way outside. So
Mike Barkis, by the way, that strike, or that non-strike, it was a 10-pin, just cost him 250 plus. He settles for 247, but moves him to plus 82. So what we have now, if this is correct, right, and it's all unofficial because, we got Mark Myers over there. Mark Myers can
257.
And shoot 247.
Is that 250 or 240? Yeah, 257.
Yeah, I think he can shoot 257.
Yeah, 257, yeah.
And that would put him at, Mark was at plus 14.
71.
That may be.
No, 61. No, 257, 71, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like he missed. No? Is he done?
Yeah, he got it. So he shoots 257. Myers is in at plus 71.
Wow.
Okay, so we've got Mr. Jim Pratt in the booth. He's your squad leader. We know Matt Zweig is going to be in. Assuming Wesley Lowe and Michael Fitzgerald did not do anything that would have cost them. Matt Jones finishes at plus 132. Cote at plus 101. At that point, there's only one spot left potentially. It's not Cortez Shank. David Leverage gets to plus 90. And right now, I think it's Leverage who would hang on to the final spot. Mike Barkis, if he strikes there, Mike Barkis is in.
Uh-huh.
Wow. And he knew it. He wrapped a 10, and then, of course, Mark Myers, if he marks early.
He probably thought that was enough, too.
His reaction
yeah.
suggested that.
Yeah.
Jim, there's a lot of people in the chat watching you perform earlier. Theo mentioned it, and a lot of great kudos to you for just working your way back. They mentioned from a knee injury. How's everything going from the health perspective?
A lot better. The last couple of months, it's improved dramatically. Been able to do more strength training and getting stronger, and it feels like right now it feels like it's manageable. I can, I'm bowling this, and I feel like before when I'd bowl something like this, I might not be able to finish, or I definitely wouldn't be able to bowl the next day. But now it feels like it's a lot better. So it just got to keep up on the maintenance,
Maintenance is key. That's where it always comes up. Doesn't matter if it's your car, if it's your AC, if it's the body.
Well, I didn't buy the extended warranty, so that's the only issue I have. No.
All right, so looking ahead, and I'll let you go after this, right? There's a lot to look forward to, but, match play is a completely different beast. It's a 3-game situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the way you played the lanes today, assuming you might want to start in that area, but, someone may force you to not do that depending on the opponent. So how do you go into kind of match play with the open mindset that you may have to switch up game plans potentially?
Yeah, I mean, most likely I'll be using urethane. I don't see a situation in the first game where I wouldn't be using it. But you do have to be flexible. Like, you definitely can't lock yourself into, well, I'm going to play, right up 10, or I'm going to play right up 7. You can't. You have to let the lane tell you what to do. I'll probably start, between first and second arrow and see what the lane tells me, and then go from there. But yeah, depending on what the person I'm bowling doing, if I draw a lefty, it won't matter.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah.
Well, Jim, great bowling.
Okay, thank you very much.
Allow you to get out of here, and we'll
great
see you
job
tomorrow.
to you. We
Thank
appreciate that. We appreciate it, man.
that. Thank
appreciate
you.
You got a good voice for it too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You don't have a face for radio though. Your face is okay too. So
I've been told I've got the 2 for 1 there. 2 for 1. I got one or the other.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
Right, thanks.
That is Jim Pratt. We wait Theo's final tallies. I believe it to be David Leverage, who moves from 10th to 7th at plus 90. But again, there was a 1, 2, 3, 4, legit 5 player. Actually, I don't know what Ed Smaglish shot, so I can't say for sure. I don't have Ed's score. Appreciate that compliment from Jim.
From the B squad, your leader at plus 225, Jim Pratt.
They are indeed in. I'm going to put them on the screen.
Number 2 qualifier at plus 155, Michael Fitzgerald. They will both receive 2 buys tomorrow and be in the 1 through 8 seats.
Forgot about the in the 2-bye situation.
Plus 132, Matt Jones. Your 4th qualifier at plus 106, Wesley Lowe. Matt and Wesley will each receive 1 buy in the 9 through 16 seats tomorrow. Your 5th qualifier plus 102, Matt Zweig. 6th qualifier plus 101, Brianna Cote. And your 7th and final qualifier at plus 90 with a 257 big game in the last game, David Leverage.
Yeah, there they are on the screen, folks.
Those are your 7 qualifiers moving to tomorrow's finals. Again, they start
Boy, that's man. How about Jim Pratt, though? Wow, plus 225. I didn't have his final tally. Holy smokes. Michael Fitzgerald plus 155, and Fitz ends up going from, I think he was like 4th or 5th. So Fitz gets a double round bye.
Give me just a minute and we'll be ready to pay out the pots and brackets.
Matt Jones 3rd at plus 132. Wesley Lowe 4th at plus 106. Matt Zweig 5th at plus 102. Brianna Cote 6th at plus 101. And again, David Leverage shooting 257. That's enough for him to advance to match play tomorrow. Mike Barkis tried to run this thing down. Barkis wraps a 10, I believe. The second shot in the 10th frame. If he strikes there, he's in. And Mark Myers also shot 257 in the final game. After I think he had maybe 1 open in the first 3 or 2. And it's a different ball game potentially there if he's able to spare. Cortez Schenk probably looks back at the 6th game. He shoots 174. He finishes 10th at plus 68. Ed Smaglick did finish 11th at plus 43. Ben Perry 12th at plus 25. Keith Fung 13th at plus 11. And Charlie Price gets to plus at plus 7. That was an excellent squad as we watched everything come down to the wire. If you're Mike Barkis, boy, do you re-enter? He talked to me this morning and said, I gave the example of why I would bowl the tournament even if I felt I wasn't sharp. And it's because essentially you just have to beat 6 other people in your squad and not post a number and see if it's going to hold to be in the top 32 situation. And he literally almost did it. Talked to his wife this morning and said, hey, I think I should bowl. And, man, he almost got there. That would probably be enticing enough to maybe want to give it a roll again. He got better as the block went on. So we'll see what Mike elects to do. Speaking of Mike, but Mark Myers, you assume Cortez Schenk is going to bowl again. Maybe Ed Smaglick as well. Probably Ben Perry. All right, folks. Well, don't go anywhere. At 12:30 p.m. local time. Again, 12:30 p.m. local time. That is when we'll have C Squad, technically. C Squad will hit the lanes. It'll be the second squad of today. Again, but 2 squads down. We've got 14 players now into the top 32, including yesterday's A Squad. Again, from this squad, Jim Pratt and Michael Fitzgerald will get a 2-round bye. Matt Jones and Wesley Lowe each will receive a 1-round bye. Brianna Cote and Matt Zweig and David Leverage will be seeded based on their 8-game total, so they'll be somewhere between 17th and 32nd. that's going to do it for me. Time to get a little breakfast and prepare for the next squad, which will begin, again, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Bowl Stream TV. Big thanks to all of the sponsors, of course, of this wonderful event, the 3rd annual Cactus Classic, Team Agent Ong, Bro Dogs, True Amateur Tournaments Southwest, Desert Southwest specifically. I think we'll have a couple games with John Verbal this afternoon. We'll see if Mrs. Cote will be around as well. Might hear from Bree a little bit. Chuck's Painting, Apparel EFX. Shout out to Randy Cote. Brunswick, Ramsey Auto Center. And I got them all. All right, folks. We will see you in just a little bit. Again, 12:30 p.m. Pacific or 12:30 p.m. local, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time for our second squad of the day. John, it was several huge games in Game 8. This squad played them perfectly to start, and I think it did aid in the situation for some players to get figured out as the squad went on. There's always that middle transitional period where it gets a little bit tricky, like games 5 and 6, and then people came back to life in games 7 and 8. Will that happen again? We will find out in a bit. Until then, folks, you guys be safe, be well, enjoy the this portion of your Saturday, and join us in about a little over an hour and a half for Theo Duthay, who joined me, and of course the wonderful tournament director here, for all involved and the staff here at Lakeview Lanes led by Mike Dirkmeyer. My name is Emil Williams Jr. We say so long for now. B Squad complete here at the 3rd annual CBE 10K Cactus Classic. You watched it live and only on Bowl Stream TV.